It's a lot of easy. I got it. There is. Yeah, I bought you one too. Oh, yeah. A file and dit is een kaart voor mij. En you can even get a siesta for them. You got to reach in a few holes. But it's amazing. I'm just waiting to park at the moment. Like that, what they call the body. Oh, that. Right. They haven't got it in Australia at the moment.
He turned around and he said he was buying it.
That's a Ford Custom Light, and I haven't seen this car before either.
Oh, okay. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, all right. There's Tony getting cargo again. That's very good. Hey, how you going? First off the rank, huh? Oh, good on you.
The only thing missing is a hands device, which is something we use now in rallies. But anyway, what a lovely little car. TD, 1934, Tony Basham and Robert Shuttle. And they are awaiting Perry, the Deputy Mayor, to flag them away at 9 o'clock. And the way we are doing this, it's the oldest car leaves first. So this is the oldest car in the field. And a lot of this car was actually made out of wood. All the coachwork that you can see there is all held together with wood. So you don't really want to park it anywhere where there's white ants. And away he goes. Big hand to the first car away in this year's Australian Classic. Next car, here's that car I talked about. Oh dear, I've got some bad memories of these. Osney 40 Devon. And what a nice little car this is too. A real credit to the owner. It's William Simpson and John Stores. And this car was built in 1950. It's got a 1.2 overhead valve engine producing a massive 40 brake horsepower, and there were 4,500 of these cars made, and also they were built in New Zealand as well. There we go. MGTD, another lovely example of this motor car. Well, there's a couple of little paint chips there on the hinge. And this car was spec'd up from the previous model. All the TD series, or the T series, that was the TA, the TB, the TC, and the TD. This one was up-spec from the previous cars with independent suspension, rack and pinion steering wheel. It boasts 57 horsepower. 30,000 of these cars were made overall, and the only thing they left out of them was a fuel gauge, so you didn't really know how much fuel. Driver, Ian Weimer, and Trish Murray. Doesn't look like Trish Murray. I think it might be the swap of co-drivers. Drivers. Century Ford or Buick. Lovely car. We saw this here last year. A nice example of this motor car, built in 1957. We had one previous owner in California, and it was imported in 2006, and a bare metal restoration took place in 2008 to 2009. And these people often drive to different NQ events, and because they're a classic car owner, they are a member of the FNQ Restorers Club. And these cars were made from 1936 to 1942. Then next car is MGA. Driver Robert Ingham and Patricia Ingham sitting alongside. These cars were built in 1959, and the MG, of course, was the first car to replace the T-type that you've just seen. One of these could be bought for £844, so that's around about 1,600 bucks. And there were 58,750 were made. They had a top speed of 97.8 mile an hour, and the engine capacity 1498, and delivers a whopping 68 horsepower. And they're waiting to head off. It's a nice motor car. They, in fact, MGA was a motor car that my Right, here we go. Now this is there was a bit of a question mark on who was driving here today. Lana Pickering is actually driving, and Richard is sitting in the co-driver's seat. And by the current owner of an auction in 2009. It's travelled 71,500 miles. A lovely motor car. Next car up is the what I was talking about, the Bug-Eye Sprite. A car that was very popular back in 1960, and it's interesting to see that Broadmeadows actually set up manufacturing Fords in 1959 at Broadmeadows to produce the Falcon against Holden. And it's sad to see that October 2016 we'll see that operation close the stores. And that's the 1964 XM Falcon U. Greg Smith and Karen Smith sitting alongside. X-Mount Malloy Workshop U, and it was fully installed in 1964. Engine of 327. It's white with red interior. It's all original except the wheels, and they're actually in the shed, right-hand drive. And that, of course, is rare because being an American jigger, they don't make too many right-hand drive cars. A quote from the sales brochure, tailored with a new glove box, a glove soft vinyl and carpeting underfoot so thick and luxury you might be talking about lovely paint jobs. Have a look at this. This is the Pontiac Catalina 1965 model. Aaron pointing and Christian pointing, sitting alongside, telling him where to go. Fabulous motor car. It's a full-size car that was restyled by Pontiac from previous models with Coke model design and fastback roof lines on the two-door model. The insurer name was a Pontiac option custom factory super sports interior in select Catalina. Originally it was a 421 6.9 Pontiac engine with tri-power carburetors, but now has a lively 465 cubic inch, 7.6 litre Pontiac engine. Oh, how it felt. 830 Holly carburetor. How about that? That's a digger. Next car up is the Pontiac Parisienne, another very nice example of these motor cars, shipped from Canada and assembled in Adelaide. It was the first American consultant's consoles car, and then became a morning car for a funeral business. It was purchased in Melbourne in 2008. James Fullerton and Bruce Mancaro sitting alongside. This car was built in 1965. Production of these cars from 1959 to 1987, and they were assembled in Canada. The 1969 plant was then shipped to Australia, and the cars were welded and painted locally. The Parisienne was a top seller, but was dropped and replaced with the front-wheel drive Bonneville. So there's a bit of history with that motor car. 220 horsepower. Next car up, Mini Cooper S. John Bennett, 15 Newtons. And a Cooper S, 1966 model, 75 horsepower. And of course these were a great little motor car and certainly performed very well in all sorts of motorsport events. Paddy Hopkirk won the Monte Carlo Rally in these cars. Nobody thought they'd be any good, but they certainly did the business. And if you step back in time and remember the Neptune racing team with Norm Beachy and Peter Manton, they were blue cars with the big stripes across them. They were very fast. It was a giant killer of a motor car. And in fact, my brother also owned one of these. He actually bought the Peter Manton car and raced very, very successful in Western Australia. Great little motor car. Rides on the 6-inch mini light rims, and they are a fantastic little motor car and a real thing. The flying brick, as they were called. Scott Garden and John Garden sitting alongside the Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396. There's only one other car in Australia, so there's two in Australia. A fantastic motor car, restored SS 396 convertible, original muscle car, but these days it deserves to be driven with respect. Hells bells. Let me get behind the wheel. Hence, this is a fantastic motor car. The Chevrolet was the Chevrolet's entry into the muscle car battle, and was priced at $1,500. For an extra $162, you got upgrade to the SS model. The first year of manufacture, they built 294,000 of these, and 76,000 were SS's. Next car up is the MG Roadster. David Blair and Margaret Blair sitting alongside, and this car was built in 1967. Apart from a 5-speed gearbox, this car was assembled in Australia. The MGA, of course, the MGA was replaced with vehicle and drive, not only in motorsport events, but just as a normal road car. Wind-up windows were standard, how about that? And the big thing was the partial shelf that they fitted behind the back seat. What more could you want? Car number 15, Ron Viz and Scott Viz. And of course I remember this jet from way back. In fact, I worked with him many years ago. Ron was a motor mechanic way down in a place called Narrogin, where I happened to have a little car dealership. And he purchased this new in 1967, sold in 1969, got it back from the same owner in 2005. Original paint and trim. The VW was made from 1938 to 2003, and there were over 21 million VW Beetles have been sold. Of course they are back, but they are not the same as the old rear engine drive motor cars. And of course, as I was saying, the disastrous effects of manufacturing in Australia, they finally decided to go back and import them from Germany. Bruce Davies and Rose Davies in the Chevrolet Stingray Corvette, imported from California, and is in original condition. And that, of course, is the most important part of these old cars, is to keep all the things original. And that's when you can keep it original, that's where you make the money out of it. It was made, the Chev Corvette was made from 1968 to 1982, and then the 1979 model was sold for $3,807. The headlights operated by vacuum and has 7-inch wide rims. The battery was removed from the engine bay to be put behind the seats for better weight distribution. Side window vents were eliminated, replaced by fresh air circulation system. 276 horsepower. Lovely car.